Hello, Pauper fans. I'm Mathonical, and you are joining me for round 2 in the Pauper Challenge, and we're playing some BorosSS Monarch. Our opening hand is fantastic. Prism plus Glint Hawk looks nice. We got Searing Blaze, Lightning Bolt, Journey, 2 lands, perfect. Keeping this one. Snowcover Swamp looks like some sort of black deck, possibly mono black control. That's been seeing a bit of an uptick lately. And Sign of Blood makes me think it is indeed that. We're going to go ahead with our action plan of drawing cards and eventually trying to grind our opponent's advantage with our own, with Glint Hawks and the like. We're of course drawing the card first. I prefer to just have perfect knowledge. If I know I'm just going to be bouncing and replaying to draw a card, might as well play to draw the card first. Never know if it's going to change our mind. This figure, that's to be expected. Chittering Rat, that's fine. We're drawing plenty of cards, so I'm not too concerned about that. We're going to go ahead with the Searing Blaze with that land drop because we may not end up playing the Forgotten Cave. We're going to Searing Blaze the Phyrexian Rager because I'd rather them use an Unearth on that rather than the Chittering Rat, and of course we're going to remove that as well. We don't want to be under too much life pressure at the moment. And they end up getting the Monarch. Alright, so we're going to be in for a long one. We don't have any creatures on the board to steal it back at the moment, and no way to take it back through our own Monarch. So we're just going to get some creatures on the board. We did have the option of Galvanic Blasting their creature while we still had the Alchemist on the board. I chose not to. Since they're at 14, there is the possibility that we might just be able to punk them out with a... like, in our hand we've got 10 points of damage, we got 2 here. If they go for another Sign of Blood here, we may just win, so... of course, we're going to be a little short in red sources, but at the end of turn we could always Lightning Bolt their face, and then... yeah, we'd have to draw red source. Yeah, you know. Always running the numbers, though. Crypt Rats, that's fine by me. If they crack it here, too, that's 2 damage to them. Of course, it does mean we're not getting the 2 damage with a Glint Hawk, but they did have to spend 2 life and a card to get rid of our creature. Going to continue to draw cards. And we are going to use the Searing Blaze there, since we did make a land drop. And once again, I do want to cycle this if possible. It's always nice just being able to burn them and do some damage. So here, as long as they don't gain life, our double Galvanic Blast is going to win the game. Because we have 3 artifacts. So since they didn't get any life, we're just going to go for the nice simple burn them out. This is why I love Searing Blaze. Removing creatures, hitting their face. Beautiful. Jumping into the second game. And taking a look at the sideboard. So in this one, currently, I don't know exactly what build they're on. It is reasonable to bring in Kor Sanctifiers, possibly instead of the Seekers of the Way, since they don't generate card advantage. Sometimes the Sanctifiers can. You can also bring them in instead of Thraben Inspectors. But since I didn't see any enchantments, chances are they're only on like the 2 Oubliettes. I didn't see any Pestilence, and not all mono black lists are running Pestilence, but that is a reasonable card that we could bring in. I don't really have any sideboard cards for this matchup at the moment, so I'm just running it back. We're just going to play good old-fashioned run it back. Taking a look at our opening hand. Not a keepable one, we'll ship it back. A 1-lander, but it is both of our colors, and we do have a bit of stuff going on. As long as we draw another land, Alchemist Vial plus Glint Hawk can give us some advantage, so we're keeping this one. Another Glint Hawk on top, that's going to the bottom. We do need lands. Let's see what we get. Another land, perfect. I wish it didn't come into play tapped, but that is the cost to pay for playing 2 colors in Pauper. We at least do have something to play with the Thraben Inspector, and next turn we can start going Alchemist Vial plus all of other things. If we get an untapped land, we can even do both. Perfect. We can play our Alchemist Vial, bounce it with Glint Hawk. And I'm going to hold Seeker a little bit longer. In other matchups where life is more relevant and they don't have a lot of removal, Seeker is better to get out early, but here, since they're just going to be removing our creatures, getting out the creatures that give us advantage, it just feels a bit better. Seeker is a much better beater. Of course, our opponent has a Thorn of the Black Rose there, so they're going to be able to start drawing multiple cards. Another Disfigure, that's rather unfortunate for us. So it looks like we're going to be on the needing to burn their creatures plan. Not the best place to be, since we're not getting in for any other damage anywhere. And here comes some Grey Merchants, so we're definitely not on the burn plan this time. We at least have some ways of removing a bunch of their creatures. Skyfisher is nice. It's going to allow us to get a redraw and get some of our own advantage. Here, instead of playing the Prophetic Prism, I want to leave it with the Galvanic Blast. Just in case another Grey Merchant comes down, I want to be able to reduce the devotion as much as possible to prevent the amount of damage we're taking, or at least reduce it. So, after they've played all their creatures, I'm just going to go ahead and remove the Grey Merchant. I'm not playing the second one because 1 damage is not the biggest deal. Guess Verdict, so we're just going to keep taking a beating. Here we're going to be able to hold the Monarch, except I did forget to... Oh no, not here. We did burn both our guys, so we do keep the Monarch, although here, this is where I forgot to put the stop. It was a bit of a shortcut on my part to turn that stop off, and I'd forgotten to put it back on. So it does mean that our opponent does get to take the Monarch here, and we didn't keep it for 1 additional draw step. Although, since we're falling behind on the board, and we've got nothing but lands at hand, it's not looking great either way. Continuing to lose all of our creatures, and continuing to take a bit of a beating. If our opponent has a Grey Merchant here, we're just dead. And it looks like they have it, the quadruple Grey Merchant draw. So, not much we could do there, even with a bit of a misplay on my part. So we're just going to jump on over to game number 3. And once again, I didn't change anything with the sideboard. Our default list on the play should be pretty good. Let's hope for no mulligans. Our opening hand is a mulligan. Send it back. This one is a bit sketch. I do like to have both colors of mana in our opening hand, but since we do have the Thraben Inspectors, any land at least starts getting us redraws. And if we find an artifact, we can probably start churning through our deck. So yeah, we're going to keep it. It's a bit risk, but sometimes you got to do when you're on a mulligan. Thraben definitely going to the bottom. We are looking for that land drop. If we have a land on the top of our deck, I think we're in an okay position. Duress, well, that's good for us. Means our opponent whiffed and is now down a card, just like us. And we did find the land drop that we were looking for, and it was red, so things are looking pretty good. We are going to want to crack a... We had a couple options there. I was considering cracking a clue, as I was mentioning, but I decided putting pressure on our opponent is probably the better play. So by playing the Kor Skyfisher, bouncing the Thraben Inspector, replaying it, it's like a 1 mana extra as opposed to bouncing the artifacts, but it will give us extra redraws later and extends our board presence. So now the pressure is on our opponent, and let's see what they're going to do. Shooting Rats might be annoying, which is what's going to happen. So here we're going to crack a clue, hope for a land. We do get a land, that's nice. And if our opponent attacks with the Cheering Rats, we're going to block, possibly with both creatures. We may also just not block and swing in for 2 for the trade damage. Of course, Tendrils of Corruption came down there, which was able to gain our opponent a bunch of life. A little annoying, but we should be able to work through that. Prophetic Prism is exactly what we wanted to draw there. And into a Boros Garrison, so now we're going to hit multiple land drops. We've managed to get ourselves out of the mulligan at this point, and we're looking decent as long as our opponent doesn't have... Evercar's Justice, I think, would probably be the worst thing that could happen there. Since they played the Grey Merchant before attacking, I'm going to block with both of our Inspectors, since we don't have easy ways of attacking past that. We're going to continue to draw the Boros way by playing our Prophetic Prism over and over again, and getting in for some flying damage. Sign and Bloods themselves twice. That's pretty good for us. Well, it's good in the sense that they're doing damage to themselves for us. Bad in the sense they are drawing themselves some additional cards. We do have a handful of burn spells, which is exactly where we want to be. So since we're going to play a land drop, we're going to double Searing Blaze, which is 6 damage to them, kill the Grey Merchant, get in for 3 more damage, and we have a Lightning Bolt left over. I was digging for an additional burn spell because... well, a Galvanic Blast here would win the game. We do lose both of our creatures, so right now we just need a bit of burn, and we get there. Lightning Bolt isn't quite it, so we're going to keep on digging. Lightning Bolt, perfect. So we're just going to go for the triple Lightning Bolt to the face, and win the game. Alright, so once again, I really like how Searing Blaze performs. It allows us to remove creatures while putting pressure on our opponent, and we're currently 2-0. I will see you all in round 3.